What's up, guys? Winter Kills here. Welcome back to another featured archetype video. And today we're looking at Eidolon Beasts, and it's a really good archetype. I'm sure a lot of you, or most of you, have seen or at least heard of this archetype before. And it's really good, and it's been like dominating in the OCG, especially with the addition of the Zodiac Beast or the Junishishi. Since that is literally splashable and freaking everything. If you guys saw the last podcast we did, Chainlink 2 podcast, we talked about OCG deck lists in the OCG section of that podcast, and we talked about, we just looked at deck lists and we just saw that a majority of the decks that were topping over there were either pure Junishishi or had a Junishishi element in it, and of course this is one of those decks that can abuse that all-powerful splashable engine that is absolutely ridiculous. But today I wanted to look at Eidolon Beasts, and we're also going to be covering them in the podcast as well, so you can go ahead and look forward to that. But basically we have Alistair, the Eidolon Summoner, and we're going to go through a quick run through the cards as per usual, and then I'll give my thoughts on it towards the end. So basically, during either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one fusion monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack and defense until the end of this turn. If this card is normal summon or flip face up, you can have one Eidolon summoning magic from your deck to your hand. So it's got like a Blue Boy effect when it's flip face up or normal summon, much like Blue Boy, Spellbook, Prophecy, Archetype. You search basically one of your fusion cards, and he acts in a way sort of as an honest, so that's really good. Level 4 Dark, definitely one of the best cards in the deck right now as far as the support goes. As I typed in Eidolon in the search bar over there, these were the only cards that came up. I might be missing a few. If I am, go ahead and let me know. So yeah, basically your main searcher of the deck, and he also acts to protect all your fusions, which of course is the main style the deck. It likes to fusion summon, doesn't really exceed, although it can. If you play this ridiculous engine in it, then of course you can exceed. You can do a lot of crazy things. You can play this, go for Tekatumborg, and go for MX Saber Invoker, summon this thing out, and just make disgusting plays from there on out. But that is besides the fact. Anyways, moving on, we have Eidolon summoning magic. Basically your search target for Alistair, I don't even know how you pronounce it. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correct. So normal spell card, not a quick play, not continuous fusion. Summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand as fusion materials. If summoning an Eidolon Beast fusion monster this way, you can also banish monsters from your field and or either player's graveyard as fusion material. Yes, you heard that right, either player's graveyard. Yeah, that's a little busted. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target one of your banished Alistair the Eidolon Summoners, shovel this card in the deck, and if you do add that monster to your hand, you can only use this effect with Eidolon Summoning Magic once per turn. So this card is nuts, and I love the artwork on it. It's reminds me of Jack and Daxter 2, very beginning of the game, if any of you know what I'm talking about. If not, that's okay, but I do like the artwork. You can see Alistair on the card art, but just the pure brokenness of this card, it's off the charts. I mean, if you just read it, if summoning an Eidolon fusion monster this way, you can banish monsters from your field and or either player's graveyard. They do get banished, but of course it doesn't really matter too much. The deck sort of thrives off banishing cards, and with cards like Barrel from the Different Dimension and now Pot of Acquisitiveness, it really doesn't become a huge issue when you're banishing a lot of monsters while you play, because you have those cards to recycle and sort of plus off them too, if you will. So then if this card's in graveyard, it just adds itself back the searcher, and shovels it back into the deck, so it recycles itself and just keeps your engine alive. It's just an amazing card. And then we'll look at Scripture of Law Quick Play. I really do like the name of the card, Scripture of Law. Quick play spell card. Should be one Eidolon monster, Eidolon Beast monster, especially one Eidolon Beast monster with a different original attribute from your extra deck. This special summon is treated as a fusion summon. You can only activate one Scripture of Law per turn. So basically, what this will do for you, and this will all make more sense when we talk about Elysion, this big ass fusion right here. When we talk about him, you'll see why this is a big of a deal when it comes to attributes. They really did a good job focusing on attributes, much like they did Shadal's, but they did it a bit differently, and you'll see what I mean by that. So basically, it is treated as a fusion summon. It's a quick play Shadal fusion, basically. Not as in the sense you can use monsters from your deck to fusion, but quick play fusion cards, like an El Shadal, I should say. Really, really good, and definitely helps to OTK, because if you see, at least most of the stats on these dudes are pretty beefy. We look here, we got not 1,000, but 3,000, 25, 32, 22, you know, they're pretty decent stats, and it can definitely help to OTK, but it does help with the attribute engine, and we'll talk about that, like I said, when we get to Elysion. So really, really good card, definitely fantastic. Thumbs up for that. Reckless Magic Circle. We have Field Spell, of course. Field spells are becoming more and more prevalent in this game as we get better and better field spells. We got Cosmo Town, we got Union Hanger, now we're going to have Reckless Magic Circle. Not saying that Union Hanger is like one of the best field spells, but we're seeing more and more decks take advantage of field spells, and they're more often than not been really freaking good. Cosmo Town being a prime example. Multiple effects. When this card is activated, you add an Lesser the Eidolon Summoner from your deck to your hand. If you activate a card or effect that includes an effect that fusion summons a fusion monster, its activation cannot be negated. Also, your opponent can activate cards or effects when that monster is fusion summoned. You can only activate one Reckless Magic Circle per turn. So, this, you know, with the terraforming and your summoning magic, your opponent can't do anything to stop any of these from coming out. Stops from getting warninged, stops them from getting whatever striked, you know, and it's so good. Like, this field spell is busted. It does so much good stuff. It searches and it stops your monsters from dying when they hit the field, which is with so many counter traps in the game, it's a big issue. And I think that's one thing a lot of people have trouble with this deck, is that when they're, you know, a lot of decks are maining Triple Strike, Warning, some decks playing Scolding, some decks playing whatever, Ultimate Providence even, although that would be a better card against this, because you could just negate the activation of Magic Circle and just end it there, but nobody really plays Ultimate Providence that much, so that isn't too relevant, but counter traps just lose heart of this deck. You can't activate anything in response to their summons, and they cannot be targeted. Its activation, or yeah, let's see, targeted. Its activation cannot be negated. Also, your opponent can activate cards or effects when that monster is fusion summoned. So its activation cannot be negated, and all that other good stuff. Great, great card. And then we got Magical Name to Mega Therion. I think I pronounced it right. Therion. Targeting number of your banished Eidolon beast monsters with different names. Special summon them in defense position. So we have a return from a different dimension for the deck. Absolutely busted. Need I say no more? I'll read the effect for you one more time. Target any number of your banished Eidolon beast monsters, fusions, and the like. Different names. Special summon them in defense position. Let that sink in. We'll move on to the fusions. We have Cositus, the Eidolon beast. Cositus being, if anybody has read Dante's Inferno, being the 9th circle of hell, where Satan himself resides. It's getting a little dark here, but that's what Cositus is. Really, really cool to see it incorporated in the archetype. Of course, will not be its name when it hits the TCG. If it does, I will be damn surprised if they keep that name, but I doubt it. They'll probably change it to like Happy Fun Time, the Eidolon Beast, because that's the TCG for you. Alistair, the Eidolon Summoner, +1 water monster. Now, if you remember, of course, Alistair is like the only monster we really see for the deck, but of course you can play cards like Top and Zodiac Beasts in the deck, which are Earth, Wind, and a whole other slew of cards that you can make that make it a little easier to get the different attributes. But when we see this card, when you're using the fusion summon an Eidolon beast monster, you can use cards from either player's graveyard, so it gives you much more options when choosing when you fusion summon. So if you're playing against Mermail, you're going to be able to make this thing no problem because you're going to banish a water monster out of their graveyard. And there you go. And it gives you an advantage, I say, you know, with each one of these being a different attribute, gives you an advantage against a lot of different matchups because depending on what you're playing against, you know, it depends on, well, basically, predict of what you'll be able to summon. So if you're playing against Mermail, you'll be able to summon this thing no problem. And then if they summon out anything else, you know, that's a different attribute. Then you can go in to from there make different fusion monsters. But so yeah, Alice of the Eidolon Summoner, of course, and then one water monster that cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. Already really good. Anytime we see a card with cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects, you know it's good. This card can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, apply its attack for damage calculation. We have a defense Shogun for this monster, which is really cool to see. I don't think we've seen a defense Shogun-like monster since defense Shogun. Older card. I think I'll just search it over here. Let's see, defense. Let's spell defense right. That'd probably help. Total defense Shogun, yeah. Basically, this card attacks while in defense should apply the attack for the damage calculation. So that's sort of what it's similar to. Not saying it is, but that's where they get the idea from. Because I think this is the first card of its kind to do so. Cositis, and then we've got Raging, the Eidolon Beast. I think this one is like a Book of Moon. Alistair, the Eidolon Summoner, plus a Wind Monster. So this is sort of like Shadal 2.0. If you will. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one face-up monster on the field, change it to face-down defense. So we have a Book of Moon during either player's turn. Very good. It's sort of like Tarote, the Prediction Princess Ritual monster. And then we have Caligula, the Eidolon Beast. Also the Eidolon Summoner, plus a Dark Monster. Going to be probably one of the more prevalent ones because there's a lot of Dark Monsters. You know, we look at Burning Abyss, Phantom Knights. Still very relevant decks in the meta. Even against some Blue Eyes cards, I guess, some Dark Monsters in the deck, more extra deck monsters than necessarily main deck. But when we look at the Galaxy Xyz monsters, some of them Dark Matter really being the only one, I think, so maybe I should just not mention that. But it definitely does give you a heads up in the BA matchup. While this card is on the field, each player can only activate a monster effect once per turn. So yeah, if you make this against BA, they're pretty much fucked because they cannot activate more than one effect per turn. And I've had to deal with this card, and you know, you play a Dark Monster, so you can use this and maybe another copy of it if you wanted to do so. And there's probably other Dark Monsters you can play in the deck. There's you can play like, I don't know. There's just probably a whole bunch of other stuff you can play to make this card more alive because that is busted. And what deck, you know, especially against BA, would not allow you to make this card because they're gonna have Dark Monsters in the graveyard, and you're gonna set this card up defense position, 800 attack, and you're gonna protect it. If you have the field spell up, they're not gonna be able to negate the summon of it. It's just gonna wreck shit because we've seen Winda, you know, only one special summon per turn. This is just one effect, one monster effect per turn. So you better hope you have the Raigeki, or else you're going to have a bad time. And then we look at Megalancia, the Eidolon Beast. Basically a beater, vanilla beater, 3,000 attack, 3,200 defense, A-lister, the Eidolon Summoner, and one Earth Monster. Pretty self-explanatory. I think this is going to be one of the more common ones they'll end up going into, especially if you're playing the Juniche build. And then from there, you can use Scripture of Law, and this is something I should have mentioned earlier. If you're going to play the Juniche build, Zodiac Beasts, or I think they're going to be called Zodiac Beasts when they hit the TCG, would you believe that? You're going to basically use the Zodiac Beast engine to get him out, and then you can use Scripture of Law from there to get basically any one of these that you want. And then from there, you fuel this card even more to make other fusions, and then so on and so forth. That's something I was trying to wrap my head around, and now I've just done that, so hopefully it makes more sense now. And then we have Merkaba, the Eidolon beast, level 9. This is one of the best ones in the fusion arsenal they have to work with. Once per turn, by a turn, when a spell, trap, card, or monster effect is activated, it's a walking ultimate providence. You can send the same type of monster, same type of card, monster, spell, or trap from your hand to the graveyard. Negate the activation if you banish it. So banish it instead of destroying it, which is leaps and bounds better. Its stats are decent. Level 9 light, amazing card. And then we have it here, Elysion, the Eidolon beast, level 10, 3200 attack, 4000 defense. Here's where it gets real. One Eidolon beast monster, one monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. So, like, this is going to be really, really good against a lot of decks, and especially if you're playing the Jinishi engine and the Terratop engine in this deck, which it all just fits in there so perfectly because they're just such great splashable archetypes. You're going to have no problem getting an extra deck monster on board just to make this frickin' thing. And of course, not to mention you could use any one of these fusions. Must first fusion summon with the above fusion materials. So you cannot Scripture of Law into this card, which is fair, considering the rest of these fusions are busted. It would be even more unfair if you could go into this thing. While this card is face up on the field, this card is also Dark, Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind attribute. I think, I can't remember the last card that had that effect where it was every attribute. So that's really, really cool, on top of being a light monster. And then once per turn, you can target one Eidolon beast monster you control, or in your graveyard, banish that monster. If you do banish all monsters your opponent controls the same attribute. Let that sink in. No matter what you're playing against, you are not safe with this card. If you're playing Mermail, say goodbye to your field if you can't deal with this card. If you're playing BA, say goodbye to your field if you can't deal with this card. Banish monster your opponent controls the same attribute. It's so good. It's so good, and it's every attribute. Keep that in mind. It's every attribute. So nothing's really safe from this. And then, of course, honorable mentions down here would be the Zodiac Beast engine and the Speedrite engine to, of course, help speed things up and give you more attribute options, because you can't just play 3 of these and no other monsters. That would be a little weird. Of course, you play Effect Veiler, you can play Maxi, you can play all these other hand traps to give you different attributes, and of course, not to mention, you can use stuff in your opponent's graveyard. Definitely going to be a very, very amazing archetype. It's already tearing shit up in the OCG, and will continue to do so, and I think it will translate pretty much almost identical over here to the TCG. Depending on what the ban list looks like when it comes out, it's going to be a great deck. It really is. The fusions alone are enough to carry them, and the spell and trap support, and this here with just like 1 or 2 of these would have been, wow, that's really good. This is just, holy shit, this is going to be a good archetype. And if I missed anything, if I ended up leaving anything out, and you want to post it down in the comments, feel free to do so to help contribute to the discussion, the ongoing discussion that we can have in the comment section. That'd be great. I love doing those types of discussions with you guys. They don't just end when the video ends. We can continue discussing down in the comment section below. So don't be shy. Leave a comment. Leave a like if you enjoyed, most importantly. And thank you guys. Quick honorable mention for 3,200 subscribers. We just recently surpassed that, I think, 2 days ago, as of when I'm recording this. So thank you for that. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. And as always, guys, winner kills. Signing out. We'll see you in the next one.